lights, camera, podcast. This is the Silver Screen Sessions podcast with your host, Pete. Your fortnightly dose of movie talk, reviews, and all things film. From blockbusters to hidden gems, Pete will be breaking down what's worth watching, what's overrated, and everything in between. So grab your popcorn, take your seats, and let's roll the reel.
Welcome back to the Silver Screen Sessions podcast, where we dive deep into the movies that make our hearts race, our eyes widen, and our nostalgia soar higher than an F-18 at full throttle. I'm Pete, and today we're suiting up, saluting the sky, and flying back into one of the most triumphant cinematic comebacks of all time, Top Gun Maverick. It's been 36 years since we last saw Pete Maverick Mitchell defy gravity and authority. The world has changed, fighter jets have evolved, and blockbusters look very different. But Maverick, he's still chasing that horizon. This is the rare sequel that shouldn't have worked, but somehow it not only flies, it soars. So the story, old legends, new wings. The film opens with the same note of nostalgia that made the first Top Gun unforgettable, that orange-hued carrier deck, the sound of Danger Zone, and those silhouettes against the sunrise. But then we catch up with Maverick, still a captain after all these years, still pushing the limits of what the Navy and physics will tolerate. He's a test pilot now, flying the hypersonic Dark Star aircraft, a plane so fast it breaks Mach 10. And the rules, obviously. It's classic Maverick, brilliant, reckless, and utterly unstoppable. But as always, his defiance comes with consequences. When his program is shut down, he's given one last chance, return to Top Gun. But this time, he's not there to compete. He's there to teach. The assignment? Train a team of elite young pilots for an impossible mission, a near-suicidal strike to destroy a heavily defended uranium facility. Among the recruits, Bradley Rooster Bradshaw, the son of Goose, Maverick's best friend who died in the original film. The emotional tension between them drives the movie's heart. Maverick must balance leadership with redemption, proving that even legends have lessons left to learn. And when that final mission launches, tight canyons, surface-to-air missiles, impossible turns. It's not just a battle for survival, it's a fight for legacy. So the cast, legacy meets the new guard. So let's start with the man himself, Tom Cruise. At 60, he brings more energy to the screen than most 20-year-olds. This is the role that defined him, and you can feel how much it means. His Maverick isn't just a thrill seeker anymore. He's a man wrestling with time, loss, and purpose. There's a humility beneath the swagger now, a recognition that being the best comes with a cost. Miles Teller as Rooster is perfectly cast. From the moustache to the cautious demeanour, he channels his father Goose's spirit without even imitating him. Their chemistry, the silence, the tension, the small nods of understanding, feels deeply real. Jennifer Connelly's Penny Benjamin brings heart and maturity. She's not a damsel, she's Maverick's equal. Their chemistry feels lived in, tender and grounded, a refreshing change from blockbuster romances that feel forced. Glenn Powell as Hangman is pure charisma, arrogant, fearless and born for this franchise. He's the new Iceman, but with a modern twist. His bravado hides genuine admiration for Maverick. And then, of course, Val Kilmer. His cameo as Admiral Tom Iceman Kazansky is short but profoundly moving. In real life, Kilmer battled throat cancer and his dialogue was digitally assisted. Yet the emotion in the scene is raw and real. Two old rivals sharing mutual respect. And one final goodbye. It's the soul of the movie, distilled in 5 minutes. So behind the scenes, the need for real speed. If there's one thing that separates Top Gun Maverick from modern action films, it's this: authenticity. Tom Cruise didn't want a CGI fight simulator. He wanted the real thing. Every aerial sequence you see, real jets, real pilots, real G-forces. The cast trained under US supervision for months. They went through survival courses, water egress drills, and even cinematography workshops so they could operate the cameras inside the cockpit. Each actor was responsible for capturing their own close-ups while flying at Mach 0.8, pulling up to 7.5 Gs. That's like having a refrigerator sitting on your chest while you're acting. Cruise and director Joseph Kosinski built specialised IMAX cameras small enough to fit in the cockpit, allowing audiences to feel every vibration, every cloud streak, and every turn. Fun bit of trivia, The Dark Star prototype in the opening scene looked so convincing that the Chinese military reportedly repositioned satellites to confirm whether the US had secretly built a new jet. That's how realistically it looked. And the soundtrack. The production team actually recorded the roar of real F-18 engines to create a more visceral sound effect. No stock audio, every roar you hear came from the sky. The film wrapped in 2019, but Cruise refused to let it debut on streaming. He told Paramount, "This is a theatre experience." When it finally hit cinemas in 2022, it reignited global box offices and reminded audiences why movies are meant to be felt. So, emotion in the skies, legacy and loss. So behind the sound and fury, Maverick is about the passage of time, how we deal with loss, aging and legacy. Maverick's guilt over Goose's death has haunted him for decades. Training Rooster forces him to confront that pain. Every scene between them is laid with unspoken emotion, and Maverick doesn't just want to protect Rooster, he's trying to atone. That's what makes the film quiet and moments hit so hard. The bar scene where the young pilots unknowingly mock their instructor, the piano sing along to Great Balls of Fire, mirroring Goose and Meg Ryan's iconic moment from the original, and the wordless goodbye to Iceman. It's nostalgia, yes, but earned nostalgia, built on character, not fan service. And then there's the theme of mortality. Maverick knows his time is running out. His refusal to move up the ranks isn't stubbornness, it's fear of becoming irrelevant. In that sense, Top Gun Maverick isn't just about a pilot. It's about an artist who refuses to stop creating, no matter how old he gets. Sound familiar, Tom Cruise fans? So the flight scenes, pure cinematic adrenaline. So let's talk about those flight scenes, because honestly, they're nothing short of revolutionary. The final act's mission sequence is edge-of-your-seat filmmaking. Low-altitude runs through narrow canyons, tight turns in breakneck speed, missiles slicing through the sky. But what makes it so gripping isn't the spectacle, it's the stakes. Every shot is motivated by emotion. Every maneuver connects back to character. You can feel Maverick's mentorship through the choreography, the way he leads, improvises, and ultimately takes the biggest risk himself. It's both a masterclass in action editing and a love letter to practical filmmaking. And when Maverick and Rooster steal that old F-14 Tomcat from the enemy base, that's pure cinematic poetry. The old guard and the new generation, side by side, flying the past into the future. So the soundtrack and score, so the Pulse of the Sky, music's always been a part of Top Gun's DNA, and Maverick honours that legacy perfectly. Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins returns, bringing that rush of adrenaline right from the opening titles. But the new music elevates it. Lady Gaga's Hold My Hand serves as both love theme and emotional anchor. A powerful, swelling anthem that hits like a landing on an aircraft carrier. Behind the score are three legends, Hans Zimmer, Harold Faltermeyer and Lorne Balfe. Together they create a sound that's equal parts nostalgia and propulsion, combining analog synth with orchestral grandeur. Zimmer reportedly described the score as the sound of wind, heart and metal colliding. You can feel it in every note. And don't miss the small details, the way the original Top Gun anthem plays softly under Iceman's scene, or the new brass motif that subtly mirrors the rising and falling of flight itself. So themes and symbolism, what keeps us flying? On the surface, Maverick is about jets and adrenaline. Underneath, it's a film about purpose. It asks, what do you do when your prime has passed, but your passion hasn't? Maverick represents anyone who refuses to be replaced by technology, bureaucracy or time. He's the last of a generation that believes in gut instinct over automation. There's a brilliant line early in the film. The future is coming, and you're not in it. It's just a jab at Maverick. It's a reflection on creativity itself in a world obsessed with efficiency. And yet, Maverick proves them wrong. Experience, intuition and heart still matter. That's why audiences of every age connected to this film. Because it's not just about flying, it's about believing that you still have something to give. So cultural impact, why it hit so hard. Top Gun Maverick didn't just succeed, it became a cultural event. In a post-pandemic world, it reminded people that the cinema could be collective, excitement, shared emotion, and sheer thrill of spectacle. Veterans praised its authenticity, younger audiences discovered the joy of a movie that isn't ironic or dark, but genuinely aspirational. Even the Navy reported a spike in recruitment inquiries after the film's release, just like in 1986. And beyond the numbers, it cemented Tom Cruise's reputation as the last true movie star, the guy who risks everything for the experience. He doesn't want us to watch movies, he wants us to feel them. So my review and rating. So here's where I land the plane. Top Gun Maverick isn't just a sequel, it's a statement. A declaration that cinema matters, that craftsmanship still matters, and that heart always trumps hype. It's thrilling, emotional, funny, and surprisingly profound. It honours the original without being trapped by it. So my rating, 9.7 out of 10, because few films remind us of this powerfully why we fell in love with movies in the first place. And that's Top Gun Maverick, a movie that proves it's not just the years, it's the flight hours that count. If you haven't seen it yet on the big screen with the sound cranked to 11, do it. Feel that afterburner in your chest. Thanks for joining me for this flight through cinema history on the Silver Screen Sessions podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, hit follow, drop a review, and share it with fellow movie lover. Next time, we're coming back down to earth for a completely different kind of passion project. A small film with big heart about the power of community and music. But for now, remember, keep your eyes on the horizon, your heart in the cockpit, and never forget, it's not the plane, it's the pilot.